And now,
it's 10 a.m.
Let's just get down to it.
And it's time for your sports fix.
Strap yourselves in, folks.
From two guys who have covered the teams you're passionate about for years.
We are professionals.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson, thank you for making us a part of your day. What's going on over there, Ben? You doing okay?
Doing well. How are you?
Got your NBA on NBC hat on today.
Heard Bob Costas do the intro for the game last night between the Bucks and the Knicks, and then it went right into the the light shooting out of the logo, and then right into Round Ball Rock, and I thought, we're back.
Did you see his face, or was it just his voice?
Just his voice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask how his eyes looked.
How his eyes are?
Yeah.
No, just heard his voice.
Or if he had any work done.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure, yeah. I would imagine.
Oh, they should write a book about him. How to look like you're 15 forever.
Yeah. Dick Clark special.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But old Bob's still doing the intro, huh? So they're leaning into the nostalgia?
Big time. And the league misses that. The league has kind of abandoned its lore a little bit. I think that's been an issue they've had. Kind of don't talk enough about its history. It's always, who's better than this guy? Who's better than this guy? And it's not celebrating so much some of the great history of some of the teams. And so that was a cool part of those intros always, kind of just telling the history of the season and then of the past. And they certainly got into that with, Willis Reed and Kareem, and it was cool.
You know what's interesting? Like I was listening to the Logan Cooley presser, and we'll have top 3 stories of the day, and we'll get into the details of that. But I was listening to all the comments, and it was really cool. But Ryan Smith actually talked a little bit about the NBA in comparison with this, because this is an 8-year contract that Logan Cooley is signing, and Ryan's ultimate point was like, we could plan on him.
Uh-huh.
Like we can build around this young core of Mammoth players, because you know what? They're going to be here. Ryan made a joke. He goes, buy a house, which I laughed. But he said with the NBA, he's like, we're talking 4-year deals. And he said, he used the word recruiting. He's like, I have to start recruiting after 2.
Yeah.
He said he compared it to the transfer portal in college. And I just wonder, Ben, if the reason that we're nostalgic is not somehow connected to that. Because my reaction to Ryan's comments was, awesome, we're going to talk about team building again and moves around the edges to complement these players that are going to be here and playing for the foreseeable future, as we all like to play armchair GM. Whereas in the NBA, it's like, well, you better make hay because 50% of the roster could be different next year, or, depending on where you're at, the Jazz are in team building. Well, at some point they're going to have to press fast forward, but instead of building for a 20-year run like John and Carl, it could be over in 2. Yeah. Look at the Suns. Now, granted, they're incompetent, but they went from in the championship, NBA championship, to what we saw the other night in a very short period of time.
Yeah, the Bucks are in the same spot. Celtics could be in the same spot. Pacers could be in the same spot. The Hawks made a conference finals.
So it's tough to really latch on to players. Not that you and I latch on to players because we're jaded and whatever. But for the nostalgic types, or the people that are emotionally connected to the sport, all of that, I don't know if that's good for the warm relationship with the NBA. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I think the journey of watching these players overcome adversity, develop, et cetera, become parts of the community is one of the fun parts about being a fan, and that no longer exists. Certainly not to the level it has.
Everyone who was paying attention or a Jazz fan in the 90s has some sort of warm feeling about John, Carl, and Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
How many people have warm feelings about Donovan Mitchell?
Yeah, not many.
It didn't last all that long. It honestly was successful. I mean, they had the best record in the league one year. He made multiple All-Star teams. Ben, they went to the second round how many times?
Maybe twice. Went to the conference finals, though. Or not with Donovan Mitchell. No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking Darren Williams.
No, I'm talking about Donovan Mitchell. I think
maybe 2 or 3.
I think Darren Williams is somewhat similar. You could make a similar argument
Darren
for it.
has finished the journey by coming back to Utah.
His third act has been more endearing.
Same with Booze.
And maybe Donovan Mitchell has that. I don't know. Yeah. But as far as, how do you look back on the Donovan Mitchell years? People are probably at best like, well,
lukewarm.
It was kind of good sometimes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Whereas John and Carl were here for 20 years. Everybody's like,
and that was everywhere in the NBA.
I remember when he walked into Hot Rod's restaurant that one day in '89.
Ewing was with the Knicks through all of the 90s, and David Robinson was with the Spurs through all of the 90s, and Jordan went in, 83? Was that the draft? And was there until 98?
Was with the Bulls for the most part. The go somewhere for a year or two was a thing back then, so let's not pretend that all the superstars were retired with their teams. That's not the case. But Hakeem,
85 for mine.
Hakeem spent his career with Houston, even though he went other places. And you know what? Even though he did go other places, he still couldn't buy his own drink in Houston if he tried. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
John Stockton has been, somewhat controversial as of late. My guess is if he went to a Jazz game, he'd still get a pretty warm reception.
Of course. Yeah. Beloved. He has a statue.
And he wasn't even a particularly warm person. But he was here forever and had a lot of success and all those things.
Yeah.
So I think that the short-term nature of it does affect how their relationship with the team or the sport or whatever. And maybe they're more in love with the team and less in love with the players going forward.
Yeah. That's probably the case.
All right. We've got a press conference for RSL coming up at 10:30 that we're going to carry live. Friend of the show, Steve Starks, we're going to hear from him, so stay tuned. So we're going to do top 3 stories of the day at KSLSports.com right now. Brought to you by J. Brooks Jewelers. Cherish your love with J. Brooks Jewelers. Explore their expertly crafted engagement rings made from the finest materials. J. Brooks Jewelers. Christian, where do you want to start today?
Number 1, sticking with the big news, the Utah Mammoth announced this morning Logan Cooley has signed an 8-year extension worth $80 million.
And I'm actually not sure how this works in hockey. You see what do they say, AAV, annual average value or average annual value, whatever it is. Now, his number kind of jumps all over. So it's front-loaded, and then it drops, not low, but lower in 6, 7, and 8, or 5, 6, and 7 years, 5, 6, and 7, down to like 7, 8, 9, because he makes like 12 and 13 in the first few years. I don't know if that's actually how it applies to their salary cap sheet, or if they just say you average it out over the year and it's $10 million a year, which is why they always say AAV. It's different than I've ever seen in any other sport. Regardless, it's a big chunk of money. He's going to be the highest paid player on the team. And it's $1 million more than the rumored deal he turned down per season right before the year started.
Can I speculate as to what you're talking about? Because I actually don't know. But my guess would be that, yes, it does fluctuate. And to make it more team-friendly, one thing I'm finding interesting about hockey is because it's got to be the most team-friendly sport in terms of CBA amongst the major sports, maybe not counting something like soccer. I'm not sure. But as far as comparing it to basketball, I don't know. Football is pretty team-friendly. Maybe that's a different argument. But certainly baseball. So with that lockout a long time ago came a bunch of super team-friendly stuff, including longer-term deals and probably more latitude within the rules to do team-friendly contracts. And my guess is Logan doesn't care because he's going to get the full $80 million.
It does work that way. If you sign a 10-year or 8-year, $80 million deal like Logan did, they just say it's 10 a year, regardless of how he gets paid.
But as far as the cap goes, I'm sure it does make a difference. How much they pay him this year as opposed to next year. No, not at all.
No, it says the figure, the AAV is the figure that counts against the cap.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I think that's a wrinkle in hockey.
Yeah,
that I
I'm
didn't
surprised.
Know about. Yeah. So, yeah, he's just $10 million a year. Basically, though, how he gets paid is slightly different, but that's the number they use to work against the cap. The point is, he is a true star in the making. You see it every time he's on the ice. He and Dylan Gunther are an incredible pairing together. And then you add J.J. Peterka. That has been probably the most effective line. The top line is certainly very good with Keller and Schmaltz as well. But you see the fact that all those guys are 23 years and younger, 24 years and younger, and are now locked up for, how long was Peterka's deal? It was longer, not quite 8 years. But this is what this team is going to look like for the foreseeable future. And it's a really good place to be, and probably not a spot that the Coyotes ever found themselves in. So great timing. Peterka's 5 years. So you've got half a decade with these three guys who are all in their early 20s that are only getting better.
Christian, if you were Logan Cooley today and you took Ryan Smith's advice to buy a house, where would you? What neighborhood would you pick?
Oh,
now
Park
Christian
City.
is a Brigham City guy. Okay,
Yeah.
Park City.
Yeah.
Park City. Just like city proper, or are you talking?
I'm talking something nice.
like a condo at DV,
Top of Main Street?
or what?
The Main Street houses are cool, or I'd go somewhere with a view.
Sure.
Okay, Ben.
You know, you can get a smoking deal in Glendale right now. I've lived in Glendale, so it's close to the arena.
Not Arizona.
No, not good. No, different Glendale.
Now, I hate to break it to you, Ben, but you yourself could move to Glendale tomorrow.
Correct.
Okay, you'd go Glendale?
Yeah.
I obviously would still pick Olympus Cove. Proximity to the downtown and the practice facility, second to none.
300 people in Glendale, Utah. So you'd be the king of the town. I guess I never lived in Glendale. No, that's a little far off.
And to go off Christian, I might actually. He probably doesn't have enough dough to move to Glen Wild quite yet. Maybe he goes Midway or something. All right.
Or maybe he'll buy multiple houses.
Yeah.
Well, he can afford it.
Good on him.
Well, he'll probably get something in Minnesota, his hometown. I would imagine something on the lake, and then have your huge, beautiful mansion here. Again, these guys are weird. They all live together. Not all of them, but like a lot of them live together, despite the fact that they have signed huge contracts.
Because they're young people.
Yeah.
Because they're 21 and don't know any different.
Yeah.
Especially in hockey, where I imagine they've been living in dorms with each other since they were, 13? Mm-hmm. It's probably like a comfort thing.
But the Mammoth did get crushed last night. They were up 2-0 after the first period, and then gave up 5 goals in the second period. It's kind of their first real letdown. It was the last game of the long road trip that they'd had so much success.
Whatever, they won 7 in a row.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it was a
Take a night
very
off,
successful
fellas.
trip. It's an extraordinarily successful trip.
Next.
Number 2, college insider Brett McMurphy doing some reporting for On3. Sounds like other athletic directors are fed up with Utah's injury reporting.
All right. I don't care. We've talked about how this was going to happen. Everybody saw this coming. Utah continues to play with the rules however they have to. And if you want to defend Utah and say they're not, they should be. You should be screwing with the rules.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason not to. If you feel like that's a competitive advantage at this point and they're not going to stop you, do that. Say that Devin Dampier is available. He doesn't have to play just because he's available. That doesn't mean anything. Do you guys want the playbook too? What does Utah owe you in this situation?
I bet the other athletic directors would argue, I don't know, how's the best way to put this? Gentlemanly behavior, the nature of sport, the environment they're all competing in, honesty, integrity,
yes, the
all those.
squeaky clean world of college football.
Yeah. Right.
No,
Notoriously,
I know. Listen, we can play whataboutism all day. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. We're not talking about the rec league at the Y. I know. I understand. But that would be their argument. Now, Witt's argument would be what you're making right there, or I don't have to do anything, or whatever. What I find funny about this is obviously those athletic directors didn't do sports radio during the Cam Rising year.
Yeah.
Obviously, the two of us were jaded by this whole thing years ago. And so it is kind of laughable to hear athletic directors object to your point. But I don't understand. Here's where I don't agree with Kyle, and I don't know. I'm just a radio bozo. Who am I? It doesn't give you an advantage. Just wrong footing the other team for 10 seconds. actually give you some sort of real competitive advantage that's going to win you the ball game? I mean, the answer may be yes on the super micro.
But it's more paranoia than anything else.
But you're really expending a lot of effort and political capital amongst your fellow coaches and athletic directors and whatever. But Witt's in the position where he can't say, yeah, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
He doesn't care.
Sure. He doesn't care. He hasn't cared for a long time. He has never cared about being popular with other coaches. That is not ever been one of his priorities. And he's not popular with other coaches. And he doesn't care. Good for him, I guess. But it is funny. Athletic director is like, hey, what kind of games you played over there, fella? And he extends both hands. And in kind of a fist-like feature, Ben, where he's got palms up but in a fist. And then extends both middle fingers and said, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
I'm going to retire in 10 minutes. So.
Right. I'm going to put the whole team
And even if I don't, I'm not ever going to try and get another job.
I'm going to put the entire team as questionable. I don't know that for sure they're going to play. There's a question that they may not play.
Yeah, and
it's 100% possible that none of these guys are available.
And I guess Bert could fine him, but unless that happens, I don't see him doing anything about it because he doesn't care.
It's Bert Yormark.
Yeah.
Or Bert
McMurphy.
Oh, sure.
But I don't think Bert McMurphy is going to find Kyle Whittingham. But Bert Yormark might.
Yeah, the Bretts, we'll see how they approach this. But
they can't because there's no, the stupid rule is so subjective.
Exactly right. It's why we thought this was so stupid immediately after this came out. How do you enforce this? You simply cannot. You cannot enforce it.
How do you enforce the new salary cap in college football? Cannot.
I can't prove that Utah was lying, that they thought Friday night Devin Dampier was probable. And then Saturday morning, he goes out there and starts to warm up and wrong steps, and all of a sudden his foot hurts again. I can't prove that didn't happen. They don't have a camera on him all the time. There's not a doctor monitoring him 24/7. It's what are you going to do about it? How are you going to argue against that? And again, he was available. He was available. Doesn't mean he's starting. So.
Well, I don't know. People could just listen to me. And I told you he wasn't going to play. There was not a chance he was going to play. It was all because they talked about it on Monday.
Yeah.
Because if it was a chance to be Dampier, they wouldn't have even mentioned Bird's name. They'd been like, yeah, Bird's killing it with the practice squad.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Yep.
Actually, Isaac Wilson is number 2.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I find it annoying and kind of funny, but I do find it funny that other people are noticing. It's this has been... Go ask the Fox crew that he wouldn't even tell who was starting at quarterback.
Yeah. They'd never heard of him. Huh?
Who was this?
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Number 3, the Jazz welcome the Trailblazers into town tonight.
No Scooter.
Well, Scoot's out for a while. He tore his hamstring.
I know.
But
when I think the Blazers, I think Scooter now.
This will be a good test for the Jazz. This is a team that is a little bit motivated after Chauncey Billups got essentially let go. It was announced this morning that he's not getting paid while he's on leave for his alleged gambling schemes. They have a bunch of adults on the team, including Drew Holiday, who's one of the best leaders in the NBA. And they're talented. This is a roster that's probably more talented than the Jazz, that isn't going to do what the Clippers did, which is sleepwalk into Utah and let the Jazz run all over them in the first quarter and then decide, well, there's 81 more of these. Let's just pack it up and go home, and we'll get ready for the next game. So this will be the Jazz's best test because I don't think the Kings are good. I know that the Suns are not good. And I think the Trailblazers are trying to make the play-in tournament. At least, if not better. I don't think they can necessarily get to the top 6.
They tried last year.
So they should continue to try this year. Yes, they're a little beat up, but again, they went out and made win now moves in the summer.
Didn't they steal basically Avdija from Washington?
Yeah, they traded him for a 14th overall pick that has not turned into anything, or something like that.
I thought it was more egregious than that. Like the Wizards had just totally given up on. I have to look into that, but he's a good player.
He is. He's really good. He's great. He's Lowry Markkanen-esque.
And you love Klingon.
Klingon's all right. That's a good matchup for Walker tonight. It's another huge person.
He's no Zach Edey in Ben's mind.
Correct. But
how's Zach start? I don't even know.
He's hurt. He's got a broken foot. Yeah, or whatever is wrong with his foot. But
Surprise.
Press down on the gas pedal too hard?
7'4" guy can't stay healthy.
How fast was he going again?
105? 109?
109. Yikes.
So this is a good test for the Jazz. I'll be curious how long. I do think I wonder if Will Hardy has painted himself into a little bit of a corner with Svi Mikhailiuk starting, because the truth is Svi is going to look better than rookies because he's been in the NBA for 5 or 6 years now and just knows the tricks of the trade, knows how to be in the right spots. And if you're winning early, like the Jazz have, there's 2-1 on the season, it's hard to justify changing the starting lineup.
Sure, whatever. I mean, we're going to see a zillion starting lineups. I'm not bent out of shape about it. I think the interesting part of Svi is how different his game is than it was last year. And maybe that's the lineups he played with, because last year he had zero shame. And this year he has like at least, I don't know, Ben, 10% shame? 15?
Uh-huh.
And he's getting after it. So maybe he sees this as his opportunity. Why not ride it? But, I mean, I don't know. We're going to see 5 different people start at that position before January. And that's even if they're like actually trying.
Yeah.
Because injuries happen and
Correct.
situations happen and people a trade could happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Svi, sure, knock yourself out, Svi. Just start playing. Just continue to play hard on defense.
Yep.
All right. Stay tuned. We're going to have a press conference for RSL coming up next. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Want to remind you about our friends at Kenny J's Barbecue. They will cater your work parties, luncheons, weddings, family get-togethers, and holiday parties. New catering clients get 10% off their first order at Kenny J's. We're going to tap into the RSL press conference with Steve Starks coming up here momentarily, Ben. We are not sure exactly what they're announcing. They did, of course, just get eliminated from the playoffs and head into the off season. So it'll be interesting to see which direction they're going.
Yeah, they bought the team, not at a weird time, but they bought the team. They had a season to kind of watch what was going on. I know there were some people that were frustrated early in the year that they didn't spend more money to be more aggressive. They ended up making the playoffs. Now everybody makes the playoffs in MLS. So we will see which direction they go now this offseason. But traditionally, the Millers have been good owners with their sports teams. So I'll be curious to see what type of moves they make. And, yeah, you buy a team, you rearrange it to put it in a spot where you're comfortable operating it. So we'll see what those are today.
I definitely agree with that opinion that the Millers have been good owners. I think I'm trying to think of there are several reasons that is, but I think one of the main ones, I suppose, is they hire smart people and they empower them.
Yeah.
They're good at that. And they've been good at that since, of course, Larry bought the Jazz back in the 80s. So I would guess that they're going to use the same template with RSL, and that's probably good news. But spending money in sports, more and more, Ben, I've discovered is so about timing. It's not just spending. It's about who you spend on and at what point do you spend it. You know, the Knicks have spent money for 25 years.
Uh-huh.
Basically, since the lockout in the late 90s, they've just outspent pretty much everybody. They've never done anything. And I know you think they're title bound. We did the predictions segment last week, and Ben said fire up the parade down Broadway.
Sure. Wall Street.
But I mean, how much money have they wasted on just rosters that did nothing? You know, it's all about timing and what you do. All right. Let's get to the RSL press conference. Jason Kreis currently speaking.
Steve Starks, Michelle Smith, and last but certainly not least, John Kimball. John has been my staunchest supporter these past couple of years, and he was easily the biggest proponent and driver to bring me back to my beloved club here in Utah. Thank you, John, and happy birthday. There are two things that I'd like to open up with that many of you may or may not know about me. Number one is that I don't like to talk. And I certainly don't love to talk in a public setting like this. Allow me to be comfortable with you all for a bit. An emotional, passionate guy who says what he means and means what he says. So please also allow me to get emotional with you. My wife is here today, and I would be sorely remiss if I didn't mention how grateful I am of her and her support through what has been a very long challenging, stressful, but meaningful career in this game so far. She is my rock. She is our family's backbone. And without her, there is zero chance I would be standing here today. Thank you, Kimberly. I think it's interesting that Steve Starks mentions the learnings. Through my time in this game, I've had my share of what most people would consider failures. I was the first player ever signed at Real Salt Lake a long time ago, and in those first few years, we lost a lot. Then I was the head coach here for 7 years. In that time, we experienced a lot of success, and I left here in 2014 at the top of the coaching echelon. I then went away for 10 years, and truthfully, I did not have a ton of success. But through all of that, I experienced and learned a lot. I worked in Manchester, England, New York City, Orlando, and Miami, Florida. Players. I worked with a world super club. I helped to start a youth academy from scratch. I coached a second team. I was a U.S. Olympic team head coach. I was a U.S. national team assistant coach. And finally, I worked as an MLS assistant coach. Through all those challenges and all the ups and downs, I came to realize 3 very critical things that all of us should continually consider and ask ourselves. The first question that we should ask ourselves is, are you happy with what you do? Or do you feel fulfilled by what you do? The answer for me just 2 short years ago was a resounding no. The second question is, are you happy with where you are? And through all those places that I dragged my family to, all those moves, I realized I wasn't happy where I was. It dawned on me then that Salt Lake is where I should be. Salt Lake is where I had a tremendous amount of success, and Salt Lake is where I felt appreciated. Salt Lake is where we raised our children. Salt Lake is our home. We belong here. I want you to hear me say that again, because it is obviously a very simple phrase, but I think it has deep emotional complexity underneath. We belong here. And the third question, and arguably the most important one, is who do you surround yourself with? Who do you work with? What is clear to me now more so than ever before is that this city, this community, this ownership group, this group, and these soccer staffs that are assembled in our clubs are full of high quality, high character people. I believe so strongly that we are surrounded by and led by so many wonderful people here. And I am someone that believes this is the most critical part to everything we do, whether that's building a department, building a coaching staff, or building our teams. People and character matter. For the first time since perhaps 2013 when I left this great place, I am just so happy to be able to answer all 3 of these critical questions with a resounding yes. Seeing what we now have here at Zion Bank Training Center, taking an active role in the Utah Royals' rebirth this summer, fully aligning, understanding, and influencing what our academy and Monarchs are producing, and potentially learning best practices from 40 years of Miller operations in our community, as well as the potential learnings from the Blitzer clubs in Europe, my adrenaline and excitement are surging at the thought of how I can apply what I've experienced and what I've learned to our club leaders, our sporting directors, our coaches, our staff members, and our players to consistently and relentlessly pursue championships. There is one more lesson. I guess at being 50 years old, you start to think you have life lessons. There's one more life lesson I'd like to share with everyone here as I close up. And it was actually the main point of focus I tried my best to impart to the Royals staff and players this past summer. There are really only two things in our lives which we have absolute and sole control of: our attitude and our work rate. I can make everyone here two solemn promises. Number one, I will approach every day with a positive, competitive, and collaborative attitude. And number two, I will put absolutely everything I have into this project. Nobody will work harder or be more committed to this than me. The best is yet to come. And as my favorite Latin phrase states, audentis fortuna juvat. For those of you that didn't take Latin in high school, that means fortune favors the bold. And I do plan to be bold. Thank you.
All right, this is a press conference. RSL and the Miller family announcing Jason Kreis has been named the club's president of soccer operations. We'll return now to the press conference.
Thank you, and congratulations, Jason. I'd like to take this opportunity to just express how honored and excited for the continued opportunities that we have to dive into the soccer world and to be welcomed so warmly into the RSL club. I'd also like to thank everybody for the opportunity to work with RSL and the Royals and the families here who have welcomed us so warmly, and for the amazingly loyal fans who show up to support the Claret and Cobalt. It has become even more obvious to us that RSL and the Royals have an incredibly passionate fan base, one for which we are very grateful. Our first few months have already become a signature moment for our family. RSL Club's values align closely with our families and the entire Larry H. Miller organization's values and the way we think about and approach professional sports. I echo everything that has been said about Jason. He is a phenomenal connector amongst the coaches and the players, the front office, the business sides of our operations, with the fans in the community, across all aspects of the club. Jason is deeply in tune with the roots of this club, from our old friend Dave Checketts, the founder of RSL, to everyone who roams the halls in both Sandy and Harriman today. Our goal for all of our teams is to win trophies. It is apparent that Jason is the executive to lead our club to accomplish that goal. Jason, we are grateful for you and everyone in the RSL Royal and the Royals families. After the Royals wrap up their season this weekend, we are excited to have a great off-season and to build from there, and Jason will be the one to lead us to do that. Thank you very much.
All right, that was Steve Miller, of course, of the Miller family, and we heard from Jason Kreis before that. Steve Starks actually was at the podium before making the announcement that, yes, Jason Kreis will take over as the club's president of soccer operations. Basically, he's going to be over all of it, from Major League Soccer to the Royals in NWS, as well as the Monarchs and the RSL Academy.
A guy who has real, obviously, deep ties, was here when RSL launched in 2007, had a ton of success with the club as well. Well, I guess he played with the club when they launched and then became the manager, right?
He did. That is correct. He was like the first star of RSL. He was like the vet. He was Major League Soccer's all-time leading goal scorer at the time. He was like the guy you put on the poster to first introduce the team. You know what I mean? So he and Eddie Pope.
He's got the culture running through his veins. So bringing him back is a little bit of that. You know, we talked about Darren Williams coming back, and this is a different level because he was a coach and et cetera. But yeah, it's not tying up a loose end, but bringing somebody back, I think, to put the Millers in a spot where they're comfortable, have some familiar faces.
Well, and he is a soccer guy, and as he mentioned there, he has had many different experiences, which I'm sure are applicable to overseeing really what's a lot. And just kind of reading this off, it's amazing the soccer culture that they've built over there. And you heard him give credit from, to everybody going back to Dave Checketts. And it's a pretty remarkable thing. So that's cool. Good for Jason Kreis.
And still only 52 years old. So not, you talk about how he played and coached a while ago. That was almost 20 years ago now. Still a very, very young person. So
Dunny also on that team?
Yep. Playing up at Rice Eccles.
Oh, yeah,
Pretty
right
brutal.
on that dreadful turf.
Yep.
I remember it well.
Yep.
All right, stay tuned. We'll have more Jake and Ben coming up next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Let's go!
Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. It's a much-needed off week for the Cougars as they rest up for the final stretch of the 25 season. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You're listening to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hold on. It's Wednesday today. That means it's a Win Ticket Wednesday. Caller number 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. You can win a pair of tickets to go see Brian Regan. Valentine's Day coming up 2026 at Delta Center. Caller number 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. Ben, you know me. I always hate to be critical, but I always laugh. And I'm going somewhere with this. I always laugh when announcers get way overly worked up. Like for example, like huge dunk from Anderson and the Jazz lead 8-7.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The Charlotte Hornets play-by-play guy. Every highlight is the greatest highlight he's ever seen. And
Right.
then, the Hornets are down by 35 points in every game.
Like, this is just my critique, but you've got to give yourself somewhere to go, right? I mean, what are you going to do in the fourth quarter when you're losing your dang mind in the first? But honestly, the truth is that guy's going for clips, right?
Uh-huh.
So he doesn't care about the whole broadcast anymore. He just cares about the clips. But my critique is give yourself somewhere to go. Did you see the video out there from the UConn Michigan State scrimmage? Okay, this is a scrimmage like we saw with BYU and North Carolina at Delta Center the other night. This is a scrimmage between Michigan State and UConn. Scrimmage.
Doesn't impact your standings in any way.
Dan Hurley just loses his mind at his team.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely loses his mind. And I get it that this is his act. But Dan, give yourself somewhere to go.
Correct.
You're going to have a heart attack, bro. This is a scrimmage.
He truly – and this is some of his veteran players. Like, they've got a couple of guys on this UConn team that were freshmen when they won their first championship.
They've got to totally roll their eyes, right?
So he's in there, and he's calling them every word you can imagine. He's soft and a lot of expletives filled in there.
Uh-huh.
But, these guys have to just be like, all right, coach, I've seen enough of you. I've seen this before. Especially these guys getting paid now. I really wonder how some of them are going to respond to this.
He's a lunatic.
He is a lunatic. Yeah, he's truly.
Total...
And that's not breaking news necessarily. But to your point, this is not the Sweet 16, 4 minutes left. Guys aren't grabbing rebounds. It's an exhibition play in October. College basketball doesn't start till November. No one starts caring about college basketball until January. Relax. What could possibly be going on where you're telling their players they're so bleeping soft?
I think I'm surprised this guy exists even now. But you know what? UConn's got $1 zillion, and they don't really have a football team, so he's got an easy job. Good for him, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess that gives you the license to treat anybody however you want, even if it's a preseason exhibition game against Michigan State.
Apparently.
Wonder what his blood pressure is like.
It's not good.
Couldn't be, right?
No. You almost wonder if he's going to burn himself out at a very young age.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, out of profession, not out of
because you don't want him to be alive.
Not out of this existence.
Yeah.
That'd be a little cold.
No, that's a little much. But
that's a little much.
He's a little much.
He's a lot much. Why would you ever go play for that guy?
Yeah, I think that's going to hurt him, in all honesty.
And then one more thing, a little thing I want to throw by you, because this reminds me of the conversation we had yesterday where we were trying to articulate, like, Keontae George can be a leader on the Jazz, but he's not management. Like, you don't have to be management to be a leader on a team per se. But there are players that definitely we would throw in under the management category, right?
Uh-huh.
Lamar Jackson. Management or not?
I think not management.
Okay. Let me tell you the story, and
Okay.
I'm curious if it changes your mind.
Okay.
Okay. We mentioned the story, or God, we might have been on with JJ and Alex when we did, but the Baltimore Ravens pulled all of their games and stuff out of their locker room.
Uh-huh.
Like ping pong tables and whatever, like no fun of any kind while we're a crappy football team. Lamar Jackson admitted out loud that he was the one who asked for the Ravens ping pong table and other games removed from the locker room.
I don't think that means you have to be management.
That's a real management move.
It is.
There's no way that was his idea
Quite
either.
literally, this is what happens in the movie Moneyball, right? Brad Pitt goes in when, what's his name, is dancing on the table, who's no longer with us.
Oh, Giambi.
Giambi. It's because it's the
Jeremy.
younger. Jeremy.
Not Jason. Jeremy.
Not Jason. Jeremy Giambi, who's no longer with us. He's dancing on a table after they're losing, and he smashes the boombox with the baseball bat. That's the most management move, and you're right. Lamar Jackson just did that very thing. He smashed the fun in the locker
No
room.
way it was his idea either. That's
You think he's owning it?
Oh, I think that's Harbaugh being
You think
like
that's a plant?
being like, hey, dude, you're the one going to go in there. You need to exert your leadership over this team. You go in there and you take away those ping pong tables.
I'm going to give Lamar Jackson the benefit of the doubt for now. Not management still.
Oh, that's the most management move ever.
You're right.
You just love Lamar Jackson and hate the man, so you just cannot identify him as management.
I can't separate the two.
No. You're trying because your love for Lamar Jackson,
love Lamar Jackson.
and hatred of the man is at conflict here because that's a management
You're
move right there.
I can't admit that he's been bought. That he's
Totally
bought
bought.
and paid for.
No, think about it. Because he got the deal he got, and this is not his fault, but they cannot pay the rest of the team.
That's true.
Everybody else there is playing for a ham sandwich. So he's never going to be popular.
And
so
to be
he
fair,
might as well be management.
Okay, so how does this figure into it? Because it might support your argument. You remember the whole thing about his contract negotiation? He doesn't have an agent.
Yeah, right.
He fired his agent, so he's the only guy operating it. Does that make it more management or less? Because truthfully, that means he's dealing with the man directly, which might mean he's more in the bag for them.
I got to go more, maybe.
Yeah, it might be.
That's
might
either
be.
indifferent or more.
It might be.
That's
more.
either a non-factor or a contributing factor, not a
Not working against it.
negating factor.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for right there. All right. Yeah, that's management behavior right there.
Well, they're bad. Ravens being bad was a big surprise.
That'd be like if Salazar made you walk in here and say no more water.
Probably coffee, but yeah.
I was thinking of something a little more extreme. Have you ever worked at a studio that didn't have running water? Because I sure have.
No. Studios that didn't have windows. Not that we have windows, actually, I guess, either. We're ground bound.
Hey, I've got to go to the bathroom. Well, there's no running water.
Yeah.
It was
That would be really tough.
It was a long
How was it legal?
several months. Oh, because the building we were in was going through a total
Oh,
renovation.
over at Delta Center?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's different. That's not, we can't pay the bills.
No, but it was
Been there
it
before.
was extended periods of time without running water.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
All right, stay tuned. We'll get to more. We'll talk some college football. We've got What You Got Wednesday at 11:30. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.